Hi, I'm Shoestring Jay and welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and money saving. And today I am trying to save myself money by making some of my own gluten-free treats. It's really expensive to buy anything gluten-free. You'll know if you've had to do it at any point. So making your own is definitely the way to go. And I've got some everyday sort of cookies, they're coconut cookies that I'm going to be making. And Nigella Lawson's cloud cake, chocolate cloud cake. That one is actually for a birthday party. It's my birthday party actually. I'm going to my family. We're having a little gathering on Sunday, and my contribution is going to be Nigella's chocolate cloud cake, which is also gluten free. I am generally eating sugar free, but on this occasion I'm going to put sugar in it. Everybody's going to be sharing it, so I'll have a little bit of sugar. The cookies that I'm making are chocolate coconut haystacks, they're called, from Sugar Free Londoner. And they are very, very low sugar. I'm actually using a lot of chocolate. I'm going to be using this 90% cocoa dark chocolate, which was just from Aldi. And that's got some sugar in it, but you know, a lot of cocoa mass and cocoa butter first on the ingredients list, and I couldn't get any more of that when I went in this time, so I picked up this organic Peruvian 85% cocoa chocolate because I'm going to be using a lot of chocolate. I'm making two cakes or two different recipes that both involve very dark chocolate, so they have got some sugar in it but very low sugar for the cookies, more sugar, it's got added sugar for the Nigella recipes. So but you know, as I say, it's a celebration cake and I'm not going to make everybody else eat sugar-free. So off we go. Let's have a try of these indulgent chocolate recipes. One of the things I like about this coconut cookie recipe is that it's just really, really easy. So it's got some very basic ingredients. So the only ingredients you use are sugar-free chocolate chips, and as I showed you already, I'm not using those. I'm using actual 95% or 90% it was, wasn't it, cocoa chocolate bars from Aldi, 3/4 of a cup or 140 grams. So I obviously went for the 140 grams. So I've melted that chocolate in the microwave. It's got a lovely silky smooth. I probably should have just melted it in this glass bowl actually. And what I'm going to do this time, and I didn't do it last time, I'm not sure if it actually needs it, but I'm going to try it, is to add a little bit of sweetener. And I don't like the really artificial sweeteners, so I'm not going to use those. I'm going to instead use a couple of drops of stevia. So I'll try just maybe 2 or 3 drops. It's gone kind of discoloured, this stevia. It tastes fine. I don't know why it's gone like that. And the other thing you have is 3/4 of a cup of peanut butter. The recipe says smooth. I've always used crunchy because that's what we've got, but I think it adds to it because you add peanuts to it anyway. So let's add that 1/4 of a cup of peanut butter. Give that a bit of a squish. And the other thing that is an optional extra, but I always add it, and that is just some vanilla essence. And it's just 1/2 teaspoon or thereabouts. That'll do. And give that all a good mix. So the ingredients are really, really simple, but so delicious. Even Justin liked these. I think he's coming round to gluten-free recipes, gluten-free baking, because I've actually found some decent recipes now. So these are the smoothish ingredients. I guess the peanut butter is not that smooth. Mix that in a bit. You see it's quite kind of lumpy, crunchy. So far we've just got the chocolate, peanut butter and the vanilla essence. And then the other ingredient, the kind of main ingredient really, is the coconut, which I've toasted. So I've lightly toasted this coconut. It's 1.5 cups of coconut. the smell. When you toast coconut, it really smells delicious. It makes your mouth water. Yummy. Add that. And I always, when I make this, I always think I should have doubled the quantity because they go quite quickly. And finally, last thing I'm going to add, just whole salted peanuts, and it's really nice to have that saltiness. These are just cheap essentials ones. I think they came from Aldi or Lidl, one or the other. So they're going in. And the recipe again says 1/4 of a cup. When I made these before, I really wished there were more peanuts in them. So this time I have added 1/2 cup of peanuts. And you just mix that all together to make your chocolate haystacks. And that's the basic recipe. So I'm just going to have a little taste just to see if I need to adjust the sweetening. I think it is quite bitter with the chocolate, so I'm going to add a couple more drops of stevia. If you add too much stevia, it starts to taste a bit, you know, sweetener-ish, artificial sweetener-ish, which I don't like. Get that all in. I've remembered I've got this little spatula. I'm going to go back for the rest of the chocolate. That's it. So I'm just mixing that all together. And then I'm going to make, hopefully, about 12 of these cookies. And they're no bake as well, so they don't involve a lot of energy or time. You just stick them in the fridge for 30 minutes. So let's get them on a baking tray. So I'm just going to put a kind of heaped teaspoon of this mixture to make each of my cookies. I mean, I think you could add a lot of different things to this recipe. My daughter Rebecca loves these really kind of nutty, chocolatey, gluten-free things, which she keeps trying to make me eat, but they're full of sugar. And they are really just all nuts. But I think you could have a lot more nuts. You could put maybe salted almonds in here. I think salted almonds would be delicious in this. Squeeze another one on there. And really, I suppose if you're not bothered about the sugar element, you could just use some caster sugar in this. You don't have to use sweetener. This baking tray is really warped and wobbly. Could probably do with some more baking trays. And the next baking tray I buy will be from Asda, because I love the range of cookware that they do in Asda. I bought a couple of Scoville things from Asda. I think they sell them elsewhere, but I bought a large roasting tray and a big kind of wok type pan. And I use them all the time. I use them on anything else, but I could do with a new muffin tray, because I think literally I bought my muffin tray about 30 years ago and it just looks awful now. And I could really do with another baking tray, another flat baking sheet like this. These are very rustic, aren't they? They're all different shapes and sizes. I guess you could be kind of fussy with it and use a cookie cutter, but I think it's more trouble than it's worth, to be honest. I quite like that rustic look. I think I've been a little more generous with these than previously, because I'm not going to make 12, I don't think. Maybe 11. Excuse my fingers. Put a little bit more on that one. And this one looks a bit sad and small, doesn't it? It's pretty well all of mixture. Oh, I did make 12. Okay, I'm going to go and cook them in the fridge. Our large fridge is in the garage, and it's absolutely chucking it down with the rain, but mixture is good. I'm going to go and brave the rain and put this tray in the fridge. I don't know if you can see just how horrid it is out there. Our neighbours are having an extension built. Just look how horrible it is. Absolutely vile. Do you think, Pussycat? Horrid. So this recipe uses 6 eggs, and I've started by separating 4 of the whites from the yolks and then adding 2 more whole eggs to the yolks and whisking them together. So just mixing those up. And now I'm adding just a 1/4 cup of the caster sugar. All the measurements are going to be in the recipe. So your egg mixture is sweet, and the rest of the sugar is going to go into the egg whites after this. This is the grated rind of 1 orange. The recipe says to use Cointreau. Well, I don't have any Cointreau, so what I decided to do instead was to use the liquid from the orange, just the juice. So I've used the juice and the rind from 1 orange. I don't think it's going to be a very strong orange flavour, but some kind of liqueur would have been nice, but I don't have it, and I'm not going to go and buy a liqueur that will just sit in the cupboard for ages for no reason. Now I'm adding the rest of the caster sugar. And I was supposed to do this in dribs and drabs rather than all at once. I did do it all at once, and I was a bit worried it had made everything go a bit flat, but I think I'm going to be okay. So I've melted the chocolate in the microwave and added the unsalted butter to it. And now I'm just going to start to stir it gently into my eggy mixture, my egg yolky mixture, I should say, with the orange in it as well. So I'm just stirring that to combine. I'm going in a bit gently because I didn't want to, because the chocolate might be still warm. I was a bit worried about cooking the eggs, but it seems to be fine. So now I'm just lightening that egg mixture, or just adding a little bit of the chocolate to it. And then I'm going to fold all of the chocolate mixture in. I'm just doing it a little bit at a time. I don't want to lose all of the air, so I'm trying to just do it a little bit at a time. You really should add your egg whites to your chocolate mixture, but I didn't have a big enough bowl for the chocolate, so that didn't work. Put it in bit by bit until it's all combined. Makes it a really lovely light cake batter because you've got all that that air in it. And there you have it, ready to go in the oven. So the cookies have cooked, and as you can see, they're quite set. So I'm going to have one of those in a minute with a cup of tea. And the cloud cake, I think, I've just got it out of the oven. I think it's slightly too soft. I mean, it's supposed to be soft and squidgy, but I think it's potentially needs 5 more minutes. Also, usually you kind of rely on it to sink, and it hasn't sunk. So you rely on it to sink so you can put cream and some fruit or something. I've got raspberries in the middle of it, but I won't be doing that anyway just yet, because we're not going to be eating it for 2 days, and I don't want it to just go all soggy. So that bit will come later. I'll heap some sugary cream on top and some raspberries. I'm going to give it another 5 minutes though. Oh, definitely both done now. I think that's done. I mean, it's still squidgy, but you want it to be squidgy. That's cooling. Isabel's already eaten one of those, and I'm going to eat one now. They're really nutty. They are rich though, you're right. Delish. There's a little bit of Archie. Archie wearing a t-shirt. Archie's wearing a t-shirt because he's got little funny growth come up and he keeps worrying it. The vet says it's nothing to worry about, but it will be if he keeps chewing it and scratching it. So he's going to have to wear a t-shirt. Doesn't he look smart? Good boy. You're a good boy, aren't you? You're a good boy. You give me a wash. Lick all the chocolate off, and you can't have that, can you? Oh, you're so tired. You've had a busy day, haven't you? I've been enjoying doing different gluten-free recipes and experimenting, and particularly with the sweet recipes. I mean, I find it very easy to make savoury recipes gluten-free, because you just use, if you need a thickener, you'll use a gluten-free flour or whatever. I can get gluten-free pasta, or I can use rice, potatoes. So it's very easy to do the savoury recipes, but it's the sweet ones and the breads. And I haven't cracked the breads. I've got a couple of good bread recipes that I want to try. So if they're successful, I will show you those as well. I'm going to link the 2 recipes that I used today below. I think they're both really good recipes. And particularly the cookie one, the coconut cluster cookie thing, I think they're very adaptable. I was saying to Izzy just now, I think they'd be delicious. I mean, I'm not low carb. If you wanted to be low carb, you'd probably keep it as it is, but I'm not being low carb. I'm just being sugar-free and gluten-free. And I think they'd be delicious with chopped up fruit, dried fruit, maybe dried apricots. I think they'd work really, really well. Next time I make them, I'm going to use some dried apricots. So I really enjoy experimenting and slightly changing some of the recipes, where I feel like, I get more confident. I do them a few times and I think that would be better with this or whatever. That's how new recipes are created, I suppose, isn't it? So anyway, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to give me the thumbs up and do subscribe so that you can see next time I am publishing something. Bye for now.